Hey friends, welcome back to the Life of a Makeup Artist podcast. I have a special friend and client in the studio today, the one and only editor-in-chief of the Beauty Bible, Jessica Cruel.
Hi, how are you?
You?
I'm good. Thank you for the touch-up before.
I know, we're gonna have to put that to the episode. I'm like, Jessica was like, I'm not doing, no, I'm kidding.
No, I was like,
can you please
I'm
touch me
gonna
up?
need touch-ups if this is gonna be on camera.
You need a red lip, and we're matching red lips today.
Yeah.
But how are you? How is life treating you? how are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy 2 weeks,
Mhm.
but we're coming here on the end of the year, which means some quality, quiet time is
Right.
upcoming. We're planning a lot of things for 2024 for Allure, so
Ooh, I
you
can't
know,
wait to talk about it.
big things coming.
Okay, so I want to hear not only about your career, but everything that led up to it. But I want to talk about real quick because you just came off of the first ever Allure Best in Beauty event. Can you
Mhm.
tell me how that went?
It went so well. I felt so special. It was a special moment. So, for those who don't know, Allure has the Best of Beauty seal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been around for 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I became editor in chief, one thing that I was really focused on is building community for Allure and to get our readers out in public so that they can meet us and so we can meet them. And we dreamed up this event around Best of Beauty called Best of Beauty Live. And we invited different winning brands to provide activations and treatments. So you could go get your hair done, you could get a manicure, you could get your makeup done. Then we also had beauty pros who we talk to all the time
Right.
through, reporting, come and give one-on-one consultations with people, which was so
love that.
special. We had panels. John Legend was there talking about his brand, Loved One.
Right.
So it was just a full day of beauty enthusiasts in one place.
So can we look forward to 2024?
Yes, I think
Okay.
you can. I was on a
Okay.
call this morning about 2024. So we're
Okay.
hoping to keep it going. I would love for it to be an annual thing and obviously making it bigger every year.
Okay, I love that. Well, my introduction was very short and definitely did not do you justice. I would love to have you introduce yourself to your new friends.
Yes, well, I'm Jessica, editor-in-chief of Allure, and I've been doing this for over a decade, being a beauty editor.
Right.
I started my career as an intern, as many journalists do. I did about 6 internships before I got my first job,
Right.
full time. And I went to college for journalism at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And when I moved up to New York with a suitcase and a sublease and an internship that paid like $15 an hour, it was probably lower than that because that isn't even minimum wage these days. But I was just going to figure it out.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I had my first internship after college was Your Tango. So it's actually like a sex and relationship site. And then I moved to Hearst, where I was doing beauty content. And then that led to my first job, which is at Pop Sugar.
And then you spent some time at Self too as well.
Yes. So after Pop Sugar, I worked at Self, which is a health publication.
Right.
And I was a beauty editor there for almost three years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where I really learned a lot about reporting and fact checking and copy editing, because when you're reporting on things that are health related, you have to be very careful about what you say, who you talk to.
Especially with TikTok now.
Exactly. Where are the receipts?
Right.
So I did a lot of that there. And then I went to Refinery 29 for about a year and a half. And then I went to back to Allure.
Right. Wow. Okay, so for me, it's so phenomenal the amount of work that you have put in. I feel like sometimes people find you in your current season, not really knowing like what it took for you to get there. And there are, when you look back at it, it's seemingly small moments in your lives, but it really impacts like the future decisions and the way that you do things. What did you learn about creating your own magazine in high school that prepared you for your role now?
Yeah, that magazine in high school, when I tell you I have forgotten about it, I was like,
She's like, wait, what? What magazine?
yeah, I was like, what? But then I was applying for this job and I remembered that magazine. It was a magazine called Onyx, and I did it for a school project. And I was on both covers, front and back, because
She was like, this is my magazine.
it was mine. I made all the decisions. Therefore, it was me. I was the cover.
I love that.
But I had made it for Black teens. I felt that there was a space there. I obviously read magazines like 17 and Marie Claire growing up, but I wanted something for us. And so I interviewed a local makeup artist. I actually had career tips, like how to make a resume in there. And I had my girlfriends do a photo shoot at a local fashion boutique.
Wow,
So
you're producing
I
everything.
was official. It was
Right.
real. It was a real magazine. But at that time, I wanted to be editor in chief. That was
Mhm.
my dream. After entering the industry, at that time, print magazines, like now, people were always telling me, like, go to the internet, go to the
Mm.
internet, make sure you work for the internet. And so
Mhm.
I shifted my gaze to work for the internet in
Mhm.
college. And that was a amazing career decision that I
Right.
do not regret.
Mhm.
I got my degree in multimedia journalism and I worked for websites for most of my career. And I had forgotten about that dream to be a magazine editor,
Right.
editor in chief.
Right.
Because I was like, look, that looks like a lot of work.
Right.
It looks hard. And, it wasn't the same as it used to be. But then
Right.
this opportunity came and I was like, oh, wait, this is a dream reimagined.
Right. So it's crazy because the things that you were doing all the way back then is kind of playing a role like in exactly what you're doing now.
Yeah, you don't even think about that. Like I said, sometimes I tell people all the time, there might be a dream that you have that you drop
Mhm.
because dreams change, but
Mhm.
then it comes back to you.
Right.
I also tell people that sometimes the dream you have for yourself disappears and something new that you never even imagined might come up.
Right.
When I was young in high school and in college, things like Instagram didn't exist.
Right.
And now there are a whole series of career options that fall into that
Right.
arena.
Right.
So sometimes you have to keep your eyes and your heart open for a new dream to appear
Right.
or for an old dream to come back up, which is what
Right.
happened for me.
Right. I love that. So, as Black women, especially with natural hair, it is easy to feel invisible and underrepresented, especially what we saw in magazines growing up. Tell us more about the melanin edit.
Yeah, the Melanin Edit actually started before I became editor in chief. So I was
Mhm.
at Allure for about 2 years before I became editor in chief.
Mhm.
And it really was meant to be an area of the site where we could talk about our culture,
Mhm.
about our hair, about
Mhm.
our skin, and not have to kind of explain it.
Right.
Because look, I understand who Allure's audience is,
Mhm.
and it's not all only Black women.
Right.
And I wanted to find ways that I could attract more people like me to the magazine.
Mhm.
I always say when I first started, my friends didn't read Allure.
Right.
And I respect that.
Right.
I was like, well, I get it. You know,
Yeah. Right.
but I did want to create something that they would see themselves
Exactly.
in. And sometimes that means you have to create a special area.
Mhm.
And so that's what we ended up doing. And that's what we have the Melanin Edit. And it still lives on. It's
Right.
something that we still have. And it's something we constantly update. It isn't
Right.
just a once a year during Black History Month, we
Right.
update it. We are constantly adding content to it.
Right.
So when you visit the Melanin Edit, you see new things there.
Mhm.
Um, but when you talk about representation, it made me think about natural hair.
Mhm.
It's something I always think about because I always show up with my natural hair for the
Which
most
I
part.
love.
And I love it too. It's complicated. She got a mind of her
We
own.
were like, let's fix
Y'all should have seen me. I spent like 5 minutes trying to fix her
it.
before we started. But, I do that because of what you said.
Mhm.
For so many years, we were not properly represented in this
Exactly.
space. And I know that it's my responsibility as the first Black editor in chief of Allure,
Mhm.
one who happens to have natural hair,
Mhm.
that I show up this way.
Exactly.
Because for me, being the editor in chief of what you call the Beauty Bible and showing up like this,
Mhm.
that's a sign that this is beautiful,
Right.
right? To everyone that sees us, to everyone who comes to Allure.
Right.
So, wig season is coming. Okay.
I
I
just
will
booked my
be.
appointment for December and January.
Okay, I will be wearing the wig, but also that versatility
Right.
is
Mhm.
also a part of showing the diversity of natural hair.
Exactly.
And so I love that I'm able to show up like this,
Right.
but I do that on purpose.
Right. Yeah, and the younger people that are looking up to like looking towards you now, that might want this career in 10, 20 years, like it's important for that to be ingrained in them from now.
Right, that you can show up just like this. You don't have to, like, before I came here, I literally had a scarf on in the office. Like, I walked out of the office with a scarf, untwisted my hair in the car
Right.
to come here. Now, granted, I don't recommend that always, okay?
But
It's not,
sometimes you had to do what you had
but
to do.
sometimes you
You
gotta
had to
do
do
what
what
you
you,
gotta do.
you
I'm
have
gonna
to do
go
what you have
roll
to
back in
do.
the office this afternoon looking like normal.
And be like, okay. So, I'm a firm believer in like, just taking leaps of faith and figuring it out as you go. Because you're never going to have it all figured out, right? You have held several positions, like you mentioned at Allure, and now you're celebrating 2 years.
Mhm.
Now, how has that transition been? Because each position is different,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like this one.
Yes, no. Being editor-in-chief is definitely different than what I did before.
Right.
I have been very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very rare that an editor-in-chief is promoted from within.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, someone's brought in from the outside
Right.
to, like, shake things up. And the fact that I was able to come in from within, I think made the transition a lot smoother.
Right.
Not only because I know the company that we
Mhm.
work for, Condé Nast in general. I've worked there several times before.
Right.
I was an intern there. I worked at Self.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm working at Allure. So I very much so understand the company. But also I understand my team.
Right.
And I've worked alongside them forever. So I like to think that they know my heart.
Right.
Like they know who I am as a person.
Right.
They might not agree, but that's what I
Right.
believe. And so I think that made the transition you know, all the more seamless
Mm-hmm.
because I know what we have done, I know what they can do, and I can play to their strengths.
Right.
And I know where they want to grow, and I'm able to help them do that when I can.
Right.
Um, but yeah, being editor-in-chief is not what you think it is.
Tell us more.
Tell you more.
Tell
Well,
us more.
look, it's a twirl.
Right.
I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, I twirl. I get dressed.
Right.
I go to the things. But I think that name, editor-in-chief, people think that you're spending a lot of time editing.
Right.
And especially since we went digital, there's not necessarily a physical magazine that I'm reading
Right.
every month and,
Right.
line editing and things like that. I have an amazing team who does a lot of the editing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more in meetings all
Right.
day and sending emails and, working on the business side of running
Right.
a magazine.
Right.
Being editor-in-chief is being a business person.
Right.
I run a little company
Right.
called Allure. And so that is a lot of what my day is
Right.
learning the business of publishing
Right.
and trying to create things like the event and working with partners. And I enjoy that.
Right.
But most of the editing is up to my team,
Right.
which I guide and support, and I definitely set the overall vision for our brand. But in general, I think people think I sit at my desk and like read stories all day.
No. But you're speaking at a lot of events. You have a lot of media
Yes.
opportunities that you
Yes.
will be seeing soon. And it's also like very exciting.
Yeah, no, I've gotten opportunities that I never thought I would have. I've been in rooms that I never knew I could be in with people who
Right.
make more money than I understand.
What was the event that I did your makeup for? You were
Last
speaking.
week?
Yeah.
Last week I was emceeing a gala. So, I was emceeing a gala for our Condé Nast CEO. And like I said, that was a speaking engagement
Right.
where I got to kind of get dressed up and guide a charity gala.
I love that.
And those are things that I could have never imagined doing as a little Black girl from Albany, Georgia. But here I
Amazing.
am.
I mean, you deserve.
Thank you.
And by the way, I used NARS soft matte foundation on her, and it just looked
And it
so
was
divine.
the beat was beat down.
I mean, listen, if you don't buy that foundation, I'm getting it for you because we'll talk about it.
I'm gonna call
She's
somebody.
like, I'm gonna call it. Okay, so obviously, we all know this. The industry has been long overdue for a shakeup when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And we've seen from 2020, some people have tried.
Mhm.
But how do you think the industry has changed for the better in recent years?
Well, I think people realize that diversity doesn't just mean who do you have in your ads.
Right.
Right? I think that is one of the main issues we've seen with a lot of people's attempts
Mm-hmm.
is that they just find a model or an actress who's of the right color, the right shade to represent
texture.
Right, to represent their brand in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think people are finally trying to realize that in order to reach a place of true inclusion, our staff has to look like the pictures, has to look like the people in the lab. all those people have to be diverse in order for us to really stay true to these goals, but also in order to get the best output.
Right.
You don't get a makeup brand that you genuinely love and genuine support by just having a one note staff behind the scenes.
Right.
And so it's something I think about for Allure. When we're creating photo content, I have an amazing creative director. And sometimes we're like, okay, yeah, we want a Black photographer. We want a Black hairstylist. We want a Black makeup artist to tell this particular story.
Right.
That doesn't mean that those people are only limited to doing Black hair
Right.
or that another artist couldn't have done it. But we say to ourselves, no, the vibe of this story that we're trying to tell, we want to respect the culture in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
How is that translated when choosing journalists? Because obviously, like, there are different cultures, different perspectives. So how is that approached?
We try to often do kind of a one-to-one match. So, for example, we did a whole series of stories that represented South Asian culture, and we had a lot of South Asian writers working on that.
Right.
And we did a story earlier this year speaking about the people cutting their hair in Iran, and we did a photo shoot, and the woman who wrote the story, she spoke Farsi.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she did have to interview in Farsi, right? So it's just one of those things where we do our best. I'm not necessarily thinking about racial lines, but I'm thinking, who is this person going to feel most comfortable with?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Who's going to ask the right questions?
Right.
And sometimes that means like, yeah, I need a Black writer because they're going to know the background and the culture of this and they're going to ask the right questions.
Right.
And so that is what I always think about is
Right.
when we're booking profile writers, who's going to ask the right questions?
Right.
Who's going to make that person feel the most comfortable that they can to open up?
Right.
For example, my first official cover was Janet Jackson.
Light work.
Dead. Yes. I was like,
casual.
I'm just killing it out the gate. But, it was so important to me that my first cover was somebody so people could know who I was.
Right.
Right. And I think me having Janet as my first cover, people like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. I get what Jess is
less.
putting down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, to do that cover, we had Robin Gavon, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning author, writer, do the interview.
Right.
She's a Black woman. She's around the same age as Janet. They clicked.
Right.
Right? It's about that match.
Right. I get it. That's amazing. Now, beauty can sometimes seem so aspirational, like how to get the perfect skin, the perfect makeup, the perfect everything. Tell us how you ensure beauty is covered beyond ideals.
Yeah, it's actually a conversation we're having a lot at Allure right now because we talk to our readers a lot in many different ways. Like the data is ridiculous. I could see right now where you hover your mouse on the page on Allure, but I love that as someone who comes from a digital background. That information makes me think about how to better serve the reader. But, we do a survey every year along our Reader's Choice Awards. And one of the feedback that we got last year in our survey, they kept saying, we don't see enough people our age on the site. And it was very interesting because it speaks to that aspirational, right? Typically, when you open up magazines, it's still everybody is under like 30.
Yep.
They're young, fresh,
no wrinkles,
gorgeous ladies. And that's the same with beauty ads, right? And so we really made an effort in this last year or so to include more women of a certain age who look of a certain age in our photo shoots. Even our Best of Beauty shoot, we had a model who was of a certain age. And that is an example of how we're trying to say, yes, there are definitely beauty looks that we create that are just aspirational, that you're like, that is so cool. It pushes the artistry because we're a magazine for you. Like you're an artist. And so we want to create looks that you're like, oh, wow, I'm so inspired by this. But the average person who reads our site is never going to wear makeup like that. So we want that person to also see themselves in the content. And so we've done a lot of things lately. Like we did a story all about fibroids where we showed real women and their scars. Those are things that matter to people. And so that is something that we are trying to do more of and balance because I want to have both. I want to have the gorgeous, aspirational trend and beautiful, inspirational shoots. And I also wanna have a woman who looks like me, who's just, like, tired
Right.
all the
It's like, how
time.
can I do my makeup? How can I do my makeup in literally 1 minute?
Yes,
'Cause
that
that's all
part.
I have.
Yeah.
So, as a role model and leader, what are some of the biggest lessons you have learned managing a team? Because Jeanette is everything. In case
Aw,
you don't know, and I think, obviously you see how, you are a product, your team is a product of you.
yeah.
So, give us some tips, girl. Give the girlies. The
Aw,
girlies need
Jeanette
to
is
know.
over there. I know you guys can see, she's back there. Well, look, like, I'm just myself. I
Right.
think Jeanette is often laughing at me because I do things that she's like, "I can't believe you said that." And she will never tell those things. She will take those things to her grave.
She
But
said.
but, I just like I'm showing up here, this is how
Mhm.
I show up for my team.
Mhm.
And I think that has been the key to managing a very large team,
Mhm.
actually. I do my best to let them know that for some of them, for most of them,
Mhm.
I used to do this. Like,
Right.
we have people who have to write celebrity haircut stories
Mhm.
in 2 hours.
Mhm.
I used to do that. I used to
Right.
carry my computer around on Saturdays
Mhm.
to brunch just in case
Right.
a Kardashian cut their hair,
Right.
you know? And I think that helps.
Mhm.
I'm definitely the type of person who, like, I try to roll up my sleeves when I can and help
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
Obviously, the higher up you get, the less you're involved in the day to
Right.
day. I also try to make time for them to come see me once a year and just talk to me about what their career aspirations are. I don't always pull it off because
Right.
time,
Mhm.
but I try to create that space for them to talk to me.
Right.
I never want to be that editor in chief who sits behind a glass door and you like never talk to.
Not the devil wears Prada.
Yeah, it could get like that.
Right.
But I try not to be
Right.
that. I think the busier and busier I get, the less I'm involved.
Right.
But I try to make it so that they can talk to me.
Right.
And I also have a forum where they can ask anonymous questions.
Mhm.
So if they don't feel comfortable coming to my office and asking, then they can
I
anonymously
like
ask me.
that. I love that.
Ah,
You're like,
sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you have to get through it all.
right,
Mhm.
exactly. Okay, so procedures are way more accepted now. Like,
Yeah.
I have filler under my eye. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Ooh,
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I was like, I look like a different person. But this is way back in 2018, and I saw that you actually do too. But I want to know more about like your Pico laser and
Mhm.
Morpheus 8 RF microneedling. Like,
Yeah.
I need to know what that is.
Yeah. I got into the procedures. Look, I'm a beauty editor, so these
Hmm.
things are often around.
Right.
And I didn't actually get into getting the more serious skin procedures and injections until I became editor in chief
Right.
because everybody's taking my picture. Like, I can't be standing next to some big celebrity and then looking like
Yeah.
raccoon. And
Right.
that's how it was.
Right.
And I know you're a makeup artist, but I actually hate to do makeup. I don't like
She's like, do my
makeup.
lipstick. I can't.
I don't like to do makeup, and also I don't like how it feels on my face. Like, I've
Right.
yet to find a foundation that I'm actually like,
Really?
"Oh."
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk after this. And I've tried a lot of foundations, clearly
Right.
it's my job, but I can always
Feel it.
feel something
Mm.
there, and so I just tend to not wear makeup.
Even just concealer?
Nope, I don't wear concealer or anything
Hmm.
generally in the office. And so, because I don't want to wear makeup, I try to do things that prevent me from wearing makeup. So in 2021,
Hmm.
I got filler under my eyes.
Hmm.
And that was the game changer for me
I
because
know.
I
It
have
just makes
genetic darker
difference. Hmm.
circles. And the way
It makes such a
I
difference.
was like, what?
So what is the Pico laser?
The Pico is something recently, Dr. Michelle Henry,
Hmm.
who's my dermatologist, I basically went in and was like, do whatever.
Right.
Do whatever you like.
Right.
And so we did some Botox, we did some filler, and then she used the Pico all over my face and particularly under my eyes. She
Hmm.
used a different setting. And that just helps with
Hmm.
discoloration to even out the skin.
Right.
And it's obviously safe for darker skin tones because that's the
Right.
first thing that you have to ask when you go
Right.
to these treatments. Like, is it okay for darker skin
Right.
tones? So Dr. Henry is a Black woman, so I totally trust her
Right.
on what she uses on my face. And then the Morpheus is because my neck,
What about it?
child, my neck is starting to wrinkle up. They say
Really?
your hands and your neck are
Right.
kind of the first places to show
Right.
age, especially if you take care of your face a lot. That's why you need to bring your sunscreen all the
All
way
the way
down to your
down.
neck. That's why
Hmm.
you should put sunscreen on your hands. And I just started to notice how just a couple of the horizontal lines were not disappearing.
Right.
And so what I decided to take on my neck is more of a preventative approach.
Hmm.
And RF microneedling is basically needles with radio frequency that go through them that re-stimulate your own collagen. So it's not necessarily putting anything in. It's more just like a jump start for your own body's processes.
Right.
And so we decided to do that on my neck. So maybe those lines won't get any deeper.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Noted.
Yeah. You can do it on your face, but let me tell you, it stings.
Oh.
It's a little painful.
Like, is it like laser hair removal, like that kind
I've
of
never
sting?
gotten laser hair removal.
Really?
No, it's like microneedling sting.
Oh,
I mean, microblading, microblading.
Oh,
I've got
I
my
never had
eyebrows
that.
microbladed.
Oh, I never had that.
And it's very similar to that.
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like
So we couldn't have this episode without talking about your favorite products.
Oh, of
and I know that
course.
that could be a whole other episode, so we'll make it like a flash round.
Mhm.
Let's do a top 2 in each category.
Yeah.
So I know you don't really like to wear makeup, but let's do your top 2 in makeup.
Well, the lipstick you just put on me is definitely
Anastasia Beverly Hills.
the Anastasia Beverly Hills in American Doll. I'm always a red, and you use the MAC chestnut liner. I'm not gonna count that as my second, but everybody know. Everybody got.
I mean,
MAC
that's kind of a given.
It's a given.
Yeah.
Tarte Shape Tape Radiant Concealer is another go-to of mine. It recently won a One to Watch award, which is a new seal that we started last year.
Oh, I didn't know
that really awards a new launch. Best beauty, you can win best beauty anytime in your career. Reader's choice is chosen by the readers. One to Watch is kind of like, oh, you just launched. This is the time where our editors test and decide what we love. And that Tarte Shape Tape Radiant, I got it in my bag right now.
She's like, I don't play it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do hair.
Hair, the Taraji Twist and Set, which is a Best of Beauty Award winner.
I want to try the Revere.
The Revere blow dryer, yeah. Look, I tell you about the Revere. I love the thing. It is huge.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it like a Sunday at home.
Yeah, basically, it stays at home. But you know, what Black girls really blow drying her hair all over the place? Not a lot. Right. So, you know, I love using it at home because it's just like a vacuum,
right? And
it just sucks up your hair. But you have to be careful. I only use it on the low heat setting. Okay. You have to be careful about high heat. But I find for my hair texture,
protector in it first, and then
I use a little bit of leave-in, like a Mael leave-in. And yeah, it sucks it on in there, and then I twist it up.
Okay. What about skincare?
Skincare. Now, this is the one I could go forever on. Oh gosh, skincare. So I can't just do 2. Sorry. I'm really loving the Shani Darden Triple Acid Exfoliating Peel. Ooh, okay. I did that the day before the Best of Beauty event, and
the skin.
My face was. Everybody was like, "You just look so fresh."
Yeah,
and that could be because of the filler and Botox, but it could also be because of the peel. It's both. It's both. Right now, I'm loving the Olay Super Serum. People often ask me, "What serum should I be using?" And I find that it's one that's a good kind of a lot of everything in it. I also SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic. Been using that for almost
all
the
of these in the
last
show notes.
10 years almost. So yeah, those are some of my favorites.
What about nails? Do you get your nails done?
I get my nails did. So I don't do anything on my nails.
You get your toes done, everything?
Yeah, every 2 weeks I go in and get my nails done. That's also something that I started doing when I became editor-in-chief.
Right.
Because I have so many.
Do you use any like cuticle oils or anything?
I mean,
she's like, I just rub my
lotion.
What about devices? Is there anything like do you use? Do you use like any Solar Wave or New Face or any of those?
Yeah, so I'm really bad at devices. Right. I don't commit.
Right.
And any device that you're using, you need to commit to doing it on the regular. Every once in a while, I'll use an LED mask. Like if I have a big thing coming up, I'll spend a little time under that. But otherwise, there is no device that I use on the regular.
Okay.
Not even tweezers. I mean, I'm just shabby.
I mean, you microblading. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of us who, you know, before you were editor-in-chief and, you know, doing your thing, we have been following your journey of home ownership.
Yeah.
Being a boss in all areas of your life, okay? Now you're creating content, which we love, and, you know, being the EIC, of course. How are you managing all of that and still maintaining your mental health?
I'm not. Sorry, you was expecting like a really cute answer. It's not going well.
Because I mean, your phone in every minute you have, like literally every minute of your day is accounted for.
Yeah, no, look, it's tough, and you're catching me on a bad bad time. Like,
Right.
there was a moment when they were both really busy,
Mhm.
and I realized how stressed I was when I was literally watching Wicked,
Mhm.
the Broadway
Mhm.
musical, with a friend who was in town, and the end comes, and if you ever seen Wicked, it's kind of like a cute ending. It's not
Mhm.
like sad, but it's like,
Right.
oh. But I started bawling, like straight, like crying.
Mhm.
And you know how you start to cry about, one thing,
Right.
and then you just crying about everything.
Right.
And so
It
that's
was
how
like
it
a
was.
trigger.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a trigger.
Mhm.
And I'm only saying this because I want people to know that I couldn't do this job without Lexapro, a
Mhm.
therapist, a psychiatrist,
Right.
the occasional executive coach.
And your
I
phone on silent.
and my phone on silent. My phone is never on loud.
Right.
Friends who take my phone calls and
Mhm.
listen to me get upset
Right.
because there's a lot going on.
Right.
And oftentimes things will be going on at work and things will be going on at the house, and I have to like switch jobs.
Right.
I tell people all the time that sometimes I have to choose
Right.
by being a landlord or being editor-in-chief.
Right.
Usually being editor-in-chief wins.
Right.
But every once in a while I have to be like, sorry,
Right.
I can't come in. I can't come to that meeting because there's a leak at the house
Right.
or, something's going on.
Right.
So it's tough. I don't have much of a personal life, but I'm trying to find that balance
Right.
a little bit better.
So with that said, what are you looking forward to for 2024? And it doesn't have to be work, just in general.
Yeah. For 2024, I'm looking forward to more creativity. I think one job is very numbers focused.
Mhm.
The other job is very hands-on.
Mhm.
Being a landlord is very hands-on.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to finding creative arenas for myself,
Right.
that I can write more
Mhm.
or go to Spanish class or
Right.
do something like that. I'm looking for a creative outlet.
Right.
So, because I really like to learn.
Right.
I'm a very good student.
Right.
And so I need something like that I can do outside of these two jobs
Right.
to really spark that creativity.
Yeah. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you always make it happen. So I'm excited to
That's one
see
thing I'm
what
going to do.
comes.
One thing I'm
You'll
going to
make
do
it
is make it
happen.
happen.
So what do you see for the future of beauty and fashion?
Yeah. Look, I think more and more brands launch every day, and
It's a lot.
it's a lot. So a lot of new products are coming, and I think what excites me is the science.
Mhm.
There's some really cool science coming out, especially around like biotech
Mhm.
and things being lab created. There's a lot of interesting conversations about sustainability. No one has figured it out yet.
Mhm.
I think the reader is becoming more and more educated.
Yeah, very.
And so they're taking that into their shopping
Right.
choices, which is very interesting.
They're like,
But then on
that
the other
ingredient is no. Yeah.
exactly, but then on the other hand, you have TikTok,
Right.
which people will believe anything.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see what happens in beauty around TikTok in
Right.
particular.
Mhm.
Like, people are always saying how Gen Z is very leaned in, very smart, and I believe that. But then I see things on TikTok that go viral, and I'm like, are these children the future?
Right. Shade, but no shade.
Yeah. So I think we'll figure it out. I
Yeah.
think it'll be interesting to see how the industry morphs to appease that very educated reader.
Right.
And it's someone that obviously Allure has supported for a long time,
Right.
is someone who wants to know what's in their products, who wants to know what it means when we're talking about PHA versus AHA
Right.
versus BHA.
Right.
So I think Allure will always be that place where people can come for that level of information.
Mhm.
But we are also morphing for the times, and
Yeah.
social is a huge part of what we do.
Yeah. How do you think brands can stand out? Because you see so many products.
Yeah.
And I know, obviously a small brand can't show up in the way that a brand that has, seed funding and all these things. So
Yeah.
what do you think is that thing that really makes a brand stand out to you?
There are a couple things I think that I am attracted to in a brand. I think I'm attracted to founders just like any person.
Mhm.
I think if somebody has a good story, if somebody has a really interesting personality and passion for their brand, that can attract me. I think also the way they do their imagery.
Mhm.
You can tell from a brand from the beginning if they're about it or if they're not about it.
Yeah.
Right?
We just spoke about that on the episode because I'm like, we still need art directors out here.
Yeah.
Because who proved that?
Who said y'all need to be posting that.
Yeah.
That's why I love my creative director. She's great, Amber.
Yeah.
But I think I'll look at somebody's Instagram page, and if I don't see any brown people on it, I'm like, that's not for me.
X. Close it.
Yeah. And that's not a brand that as Allure we should necessarily be supporting.
Right.
And I think also you have to have good products. I think I tell people all the time, don't come into my office and be like, this is the brand new, hottest, never before seen thing.
Mm-hmm.
Say that, but then show me the receipts.
Right.
Because I see a lot of things. And as soon as you say that, I'm already like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
You haven't done your market
You're like,
research.
Jeanette, where's my next man? Okay, so I just want to say thank you so much. I had so much fun with you, as always.
As always.
And I just want to say thank you for being on the podcast, but we're not done.
Okay.
We're going to be playing Beauty Card Revoked. Are you down?
Oh, gosh. Don't have me embarrassed. I'm the editor-in-chief of Allure. I can't get my beauty card revoked.
No, you're not going to have your beauty card revoked.
Okay.
There you go. This is your beauty card.
Okay.
You can just hold on to that. That's yours. Okay, so beauty card revoked, it's 5 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get at least 3 correct in order to keep your beauty card.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
I promise you it's not too hard. Okay. What does the geisha facial include? Is it A, bird poop, B, duck feces, or C, pearl extracts?
Oh, goodness. It's bird poop.
It's correct. Look at you. Okay, you was all nervous. Okay, so which of the following oils is actually a wax? Is it A, coconut oil, B, rosehip oil, or C, jojoba oil? Which of the following oils is actually a wax? Coconut, rosehip, or jojoba?
I'm going to say coconut.
It is actually jojoba.
I was second option. Okay. Wait, I can only get one more wrong?
No, basically. It's okay. It's okay. We still love you. Okay, so who was the first model to grace the cover of Allure magazine? Is it Linda Evangelista?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Stephanie Seymour? Or is it Linda Wells?
Stephanie Seymour.
Yes! She's like, girl, I know.
That one I know.
Okay, so the natural hair community really started during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. What platform was responsible for its resurgence? Is it A, Vine? Is it B, YouTube? Or C, Instagram?
YouTube.
Yes!
Come on.
Okay, I mean, you already won, but let's do the last question.
Natural girly, natural 85.
I mean, exactly.
You were there for
Afrobella,
me.
like if you
Afrobella,
know, you know.
yes.
Okay. What was one of the articles that was most read in 2021 on Allure? Is it A, The Business of Being Hailey Bieber?
Mm-hmm.
B, I tried the new R.E.M. Beauty Powder Foundation that went viral on TikTok? Or C, why some Black women are going back to relaxers?
Oh, it was definitely the relaxer story.
Yes. You keep your beauty card.
Only got one wrong.
Listen, you are a boss. You know your ish. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. But Jessica, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So please tell our audience how we can find you. I know you're on your socials. She's on her Zoom.
Yes.
So please tell us how to find you.
Okay, so on socials you can find me at Jaikruel, Jcruel on Instagram. No one's on Twitter or Threads, and I'm not on there either, so don't waste
X?
your time. Oh yeah, X,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not on Facebook either, and I'm on LinkedIn as Jessica Cruel.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Allure.com. You can
Yes.
find me there all the time.
Allure.com. Well, I am so excited for you, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thank you, Jessica. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me.